So what we'll be doing today, we'll be creating a normal user and we'll be adding that user to wheel group. So the user will get like pseudo privileges. Okay. And let me go ahead and create a user called a DevOps. Okay. And let me assign password to that user. Okay. Now user has been created. Now I want to make that user as a root user, super user. How I can make that user as a super user? I would have to add that user to a wheel group. Okay. So sudo user mod. You are modifying user permissions. Okay. User mod -a means add. Even though, let's say for example, I don't know what flag should I use to modify user permissions, right? And what I will do, just user mod enter. That can give me all options. You see that? So -c comment section, -d home, -e expiry date, -f inactive. All these flags will be telling me. You see that? -g, this is what I'm looking for. -g groups, adding groups. -a append. I'm appending that user to this group. So automatically that user will get these permissions. So you don't have to remember each and every flag. And this page for every command, you will have this page called options page, right? This page called man page. Okay. And this is the flag, and this is the what it does, and this is the simple description of that flag. Now I'm trying to append this newly created user to wheel group. So what I have to do, sudo user mod, I'm modifying user permissions, -a append, -g, what group? Wheel group. There is a group called wheel group. You would have to add that user to get that user as a root user. Wheel group and username. What is the username? DevOps user. Okay, now let's go ahead and verify whether this DevOps user is a root user or not. If the DevOps user is a root user, he can install any packages, he can create users, like all admin can do. Whatever the operations that admin can do, the DevOps user also will do all those operations, because he has been added to the wheel group. Nothing but he has been added to the admins group. Are you guys with me? Can you type Y in the chat if you are with me? Okay, that's good. Now let's switch back to DevOps user. Okay, switch back to DevOps user. Let me go ahead and provide password for that DevOps user. Okay. Authentication failed. Why? Did I type wrong password? Okay, let me change the password for that user. I think I had a wrong password. Change back to DevOps user. SU means switch user. You are switching user from EC2 user to DevOps user. Okay. Let me go ahead and provide a password for that user. Now you see that. So there were 2 failed login attempts since your last successful login, but still now I'm able to log in as a DevOps user. Okay. We have added this user to wheel group. That means we made this user become an admin. Now let's go ahead and verify whether this user are admin or not. If this user is admin, he would be able to do all admin operations, right? Like installing softwares, adding users, and any kind of like admin activities, right? And what we will do, we'll try to install simple software. And what software we can install? Let's go ahead and install Apache web server. What is web server? The question is, what is web server? Web server is a server that can let you interact your web application with the internet. Okay, now let's say, for example, you have application code, web application code, HTML code, CSS code, any code, any web application code, right? Let me go ahead and open Wells Fargo, and let's see. Let me show you what is web application code. Okay, and if I go, oh, I cannot see source page. Okay, let's do inspect. This is the source page. You see that? This is the source page basically. Okay, let me click on source. Yeah, bank applications they don't let, but let's do macy's.com. Okay. Let me go clear this. Let me right click and view page source. This is the, you see the document type. This is a HTML code, web application code basically. Okay, this is simple HTML web application code. How this code became an app, became an application and interacting with other users like us, right? You see that when this code became this guy so that we can use it, Apache is the behind the scenes basically. Apache is the main reason. Apache is the web server that Apache is handling, mediating between this guy, this source code, with this internet access basically. Apache is a web server. That means that can let you interact with the internet basically. Does that make sense? Can you guys type Y in the chat if you are with me? Okay. Okay. Now let's go ahead and install simple Apache on our EC2 instance, and we'll try to execute some simple web application, and let's see how does that work. Okay. Now I became logged in as a DevOps user. This guy, this DevOps user guy is a root user because we have added that user to sudoers file. That means like a wheel group. Let's verify that. Sudo yum is the package manager for all Linux. All Linux instances like Amazon Linux, CentOS, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, these flavors. Yum is the package manager. What is mean by package manager? Yum is the guy who lets you install packages. What package we are installing now? We are installing Apache, which is nothing but HTTPD. Apache package is a HTTPD. Okay, let's go ahead and enter. Okay, you think you are a root user, you are a super user, right? We would have to verify your password to make sure that you have that root privileges in a first attempt. Let's go ahead and provide the password for that guy. Okay, now we got the access. That means he's a super user, which is working fine. Okay, now when you install each service, what service we just installed? We installed Apache service, right? In Amazon Linux or Red Hat Enterprise Linux, after successful installation of each service, you would have to start that service. Okay, so the command to start the service, sudo systemctl, sudo systemctl start and a package name, start Apache. Okay, HTTPD. Now let's go ahead and verify that. Okay, status. How can we verify? Just check the status. Okay, let's enable the service as well. Now the service is up and running. Okay, enable the Apache. Now let's go ahead and verify the status. You see that? Now Apache is up and running without any issues. You see that Apache HTTP server. whenever we try to access the server, whenever we try to access the server from internet, which is HTTP hypertext protocol. Now we are trying to access that EC2 through internet. We are trying to access that web applications through internet. Okay. So what is the specific location that those people deploy that web applications basically, and where they map it. So in order to do that, sudo, there is a default folder called what is the etc www dot, okay, not etc, not user. So what else we have? Sudo etc, let's do ls sudo -i, that means root user, ls list. There's nothing over here. Let's see. Okay, so these are all what we have to do. We have to navigate to www html and index.html. That is the default location where Apache is gonna look for. If you think you have an application, web application, whatever the application code deployed on a specific machine and a specific server, you would have to deploy your code in a specific location, because by default Apache is going to look for that specific location. And if there is any web application file over there, HTML file or whatever file over there, Apache is gonna make that file as an application, and you can access that file through internet. Okay, now this is not etc, and this is a etc user and var. Yes, that's right. cd var www.html, and okay, in this location, this is the by default location. Okay, this is the default location where Apache is going to look for the application code. What is the application source code here? HTML is the application source code. Okay, navigate to that file and create a file name called index.html. Index.html. Okay, and let's write simple whatever. Right, for example, now we have this website called, what that website does, just a display a friendly message called this is so much fun. Okay, now let's go ahead and access that website. Okay, let's go to our EC2 instance. Let's grab the EC2 public domain, which is this, and let's try to open http // which is not going to work. Do you know why? The reason which is not going to work? Currently, this instance only has accepting SSH traffic. Hey Vishnu, how can I see this instance is only accepting SSH traffic at the moment? Where do you see that? Right, that's the question. How I'm going to know this instance is only accepting SSH traffic? Okay, yeah, that's a good question actually. So this instance added to a specific security group. You see that security group right here? Added to a specific security group. Basically, this security group is the person who can control the inbound, outbound traffic for this specific instance. Not only this instance, whatever the instance that you launch inside the security group, this guy is going to have 100% control who can access like inbound traffic and outbound traffic. Okay, let's go ahead and verify this guy, what traffic he is allowing for that specific instance at the moment. Okay, let's go to inbound traffic rules. If you go to edit inbound traffic rules, you see that this guy currently accepting only SSH traffic. Okay, only SSH traffic. Now, but we are trying to access this application through internet, which is HTTP, hypertext protocol, correct? And that guy doesn't allow that HTTP, hypertext protocol. But let's go ahead and add that rule to accept HTTP. Okay, and let's go ahead and add HTTP, which is port 80, and this 000, that means you can allow traffic from any IP. Now, when I try to access the server through my computer has a default IP, and that default IP is trying to access this IP 44.202.236.30. Now, in order to access that 44. whatever through my computer, I would have to specify my IP here. Instead of what I will do, I'll just go ahead and give access to any IP. That's what I'm going to tell them. And I'm going to save this rule. Now this security group should allow that instance through HTTP as well. Now let's go ahead and verify whether this guy is going to get us access or not. You see that? This is so much fun. Okay, let's deploy something else. Like let's deploy sample website. Okay, sample website to register classes. Okay, we'll go ahead and get sample website to register classes actually. Okay, and we'll specify W3 scores. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. How to create a register form? That's fine. Okay, so the register form should have an email address, password, retype password, whatever. Okay, and this is the application source code. Okay, don't worry about it. We are not writing this, and we are not responsible to write this code actually. If you understood, that's good. But if you don't understood, that's completely fine. Business analyst people also write this code actually. This is how pretty simple. Let me copy this code. Okay, let me go to that index.html file. Okay, and let me replace this code here. Okay, now let's go ahead and refresh our website. This is our website, right? Let's go ahead and refresh this page. You see that? Enter your email, enter password, repeat password, and a register. Who is taking care of all these things? The Apache, the web server is taking care of all these things. We had application source code this, right? Application source code this, and this guy became this guy, and Apache is the responsible for that guy. Okay, in interviews people will ask, what is the web server you have familiar with? I'm familiar with Apache. I've installed Apache on my systems. Like I'm excellent with Apache. And what you do with Apache? Nothing. You just install Apache, start the service. If your website is not working for some reasons, right? For example, if your website is not working, let's go ahead and kill that Apache server. Let's see what happens. When I said kill the Apache server, right? And I'm gonna get the port of that Apache. So what I will do, I'll just ps-eaf 5b2 grep httpd. Now, so where that httpd is running, this 3560, 3561, 35 whatever, Now let's go ahead and kill one of those servers. The HTTP is not going to work. Now what you have to do, let's stop the service. Not too complexity. Let's stop the server actually. So systemctl stop HTTPD. Okay. Now let's check the status. You see that inactive. Right now Apache is inactive, right? And let's go ahead and verify our website, which is not going to work because Apache is not up and running. Now, if you see, if anybody asks you, hey, I am unable to access this website, and you know you were using Apache as a web server, now the first thing you could do, you would log in as a SSH. You would log in like a SSH through SSH, and you will try to check whether the Apache is up and running or not, which is in our scenario, Apache is not running, right? Let's go ahead and start the service. Okay. Start Apache. Next, enable Apache. Enable Apache. Next, check the status of Apache. Okay, now Apache is up and running. Let's go ahead and verify. These are all the troubleshooting steps. That's it. There is nothing. It's pretty simple and straightforward. There is nothing wrong with it. It's pretty simple and straightforward, right? Are you guys with me? Can you guys type Y in the chat if you are with me? Okay. Now let's go. If for some reasons, if anything, for some reasons, this instance goes down, like out of memory or whatever, any reasons this instance goes down, and I don't want to lose any data. Okay. And I have Apache installed, I have a DevOps user installed on this computer. And if this goes down and I need to get them, like I need all those instance configuration on my new server, for example. Now, how you are going to back up of the server? How you are going to take a backup of the server is the question mark. So let's take a backup of the server and use that backup to create a new server, and let's verify the new server has an old configuration or not. Okay. In order to take a backup of the server, which is called image, go to actions. You see that instance image, create a new image. Image in the sense you are creating a new operating system basically with a base image, Amazon Linux. What do you mean by base image? Whatever the image that we choose to create this instance is a base image, right? Whatever the image that we choose to create this EC2 instance is a base image. Okay. Now we have a base image as Amazon Linux. Now we are going to create one more image. This image has Apache installed on it, along with whatever the necessary users, necessary applications installed on it. Okay, now I want to take backup of the server so that I don't have to worry about if something goes wrong, creating new server and losing data and installing Apache and everything. No. So what I will do, I'll just create an image. I can call Apache backup. Okay. And even if I want to extend the size of this image, I can do that. Add a new volume. That means I can add new hard drive, like a new data to this server, new database, for example, like new data. I can extend the data of this instance basically. Right now it has only 8 GB memory. I can even extend it to any number of, like any much, like 100 GB. I can do that if I want. Okay, but for now we don't need that much. Let's go ahead and create a backup. Okay, any backup, any AMI ID will start with AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Okay, instance ID will start with I, right? And also AMI ID will start with the AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Okay, let's go. Let's back up that AMI. Let's back up that server. And once the backup is ready, we can go ahead and terminate our old server, and we can create a new server from this old server. Okay. And let's see how does that work. Any questions till now from anybody? Any questions, Harsha? Harsha, are you there with me?
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys feel sleepy, let me know, okay? And this backup will be ready in any minute. Once this backup is ready, we can go ahead and terminate that instance. And we can use this backup to create a new instance, and we'll verify that new instance has a old configuration or not. Okay. Let's refresh. This will take another minute, I guess. It has some limited data. This is going to back up all the data, like whatever the data available in that old system. It's going to take backup with everything. That is the reason sometimes it will take some time. Sometimes it won't. If you have like a maybe 100 GB data, the backup will take like a 40 minutes, up to 40 minutes. Sometimes pretty quick, sometimes more than that. But there is another alternative way to back up your systems basically. What the alternative way is, if you go back to in a new window, if you go back to your EC2 instances, right? And you will see volume. Volume is database for that instance, for example, EBS volume. Okay. So what you can do, what companies do, because they cannot wait 40 minutes to back up the systems, right? So what they will do, they will back up their EBS volumes. You see that EBS volume, root device type, which is EBS volume. Let's go ahead and click on that. Click on that EBS volume, right? And this EBS volume has the data, whatever the data that we were talking about. What you can do, you can create a snapshot of this EBS volume. Okay. Create a snapshot. Okay. Apache backup, whatever. Okay. Create a snapshot. This will take like some time, but you don't have to stop the instance. When you create your AMI, this AMI will stop your instance and take a backup of it and restart that instance back. But when you use snapshots, you don't have to stop your instances. Basically, you are taking backup from your EBS volume. EBS volume that is attached to your EC2 instance. Are you guys with me? Okay. Now, seems like our AMI is ready. Okay. Let me go ahead and terminate our instance, and let me try to create an instance. Let me try to create an instance from here, and we'll terminate the old instance. Okay. I did select that AMI that I wanted to back up, and go ahead and launch. This will escalate this first step. Choose an AMI step because you already have an AMI from your backup, right? So from that, choose an AMI to next step. Choose your instance type. I can go ahead and review, and I can launch, and that's fine. I can use the same instance key pair, right? And launch it. And let's go ahead and select this instance. This is new instance, right? You see that this is new instance, and this instance has a different security group. You see that this is the different security group. And what we have to do in order to access this instance through HTTP, we would have to modify the security group inbound rule. So the security group will allow you to access this instance through HTTP. Okay, let's go ahead and modify that inbound rules. Okay, so what rule we are supposed to use? Can someone tell me what rule we are supposed to use? What traffic, what from which protocol we are trying to access the system? HTTP, right? HTTP, right? Let's go ahead and choose that HTTP, and let's go ahead and choose any IP is fine. Let's save that rule and go back to our instance. We have a two. Which one is this is the new one, right? Let me go ahead and add a tag for identification purpose. I'll add a tag, name Apache. I'll add a tag, any, just to identify what is new, what is old. Okay, this is still initializing. This is a new, and this is an old one. I don't want any conflict. Let me go ahead and terminate the old one. How I'm going to terminate? Select that instance, go to actions and instance state, and terminate. And terminate. Yes, terminate. Okay. Shutting down. You see that? Shutting down. Okay. Now let's go ahead and choose this instance. Okay. Let me go public DNS, grab public DNS. This is going to go away because we shut down that instance. It's no longer available, right? This is going to go away. Just give it a second. Let me refresh this page. You know what? Let me open another tab. I'll open another tab. Let it go away. But // and the public DNS of new instance. You see that this is 44.202.248.120. Let me go ahead and verify 44.202.248.124. Right? This is the one. Let me go ahead and look. You see that this is a new instance. If you see old one, it's gone. Are you guys with me? So now, are you guys understand like how we can retry the server from backup? Okay, so that is the one way, right? That is the one way by using AMI. By using AMI, we retrieve the server from backup. But there is other way. I did tell you other way as well, right? You can create a snapshot from that backup in the sense the AMI, not AMI, sorry. From EBS volume, create a snapshot, right? How you are going to retry your instance from the snapshot, right? And it's the same way. What you can do, you can either create a EBS volume for this snapshot and attach that EBS volume to your instance. That is the one way. The other way is you have the snapshot, you can create an image the same way we did with instance. You can create an image. You can even extend your size of that image if you want. Create an image and you can use that image to create your instance. Okay, that is another way. People use this way basically, because when you create an AMI from instance directly, that creation will stop your instance until it take an AMI. So nobody is gonna, when you stop your server, the service is down for that certain period of time. Remember, you people get like a messages like from your banks or any website that you are trying to access sometimes. Hey, our system is down Friday night 2 in the morning to 4 in the morning for maintenance, right? That kind of messages people will send, right? Companies will send like for their like a mobile apps, all that kind of stuff. What that means is they are taking like a backups, they are installing softwares like they're stopping servers for certain period of time. Let's say they are stopping server for an hour, and it can go a little bit longer than that. That's why they will put like a 2 hours, so that they have informed you early. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is the backup, and this is the EC2 and AMI and EBS volumes. Okay, EBS volumes and snapshots. This is the EC2 dashboard, and we covered AMIs, and we covered snapshots, and we covered EBS volumes. Now, hey, now let's say, for example, I want to back up my data every night so that I don't have to worry about like a system crash or whatever. How I'm going to do that? Should I have to log in to AWS and back up my data every day? What if I have more than 500 servers? What if I have multiple applications up and running? So how I'm going to achieve that? Let's say I'm creating backups every day. For example, let's put it this way. We hired like a 10-15 people to create backups, and they're creating a backup every day, and they're good with their servers. Their servers is not crashed. They are not in crash. So what I'm going to do with those backups? I'm going to keep them even though system is not crashed. What is the advantage to keep them? I would have to pay to AWS in order to store my backups in AWS, right? So what is the advantage? Okay, let's keep them for a week. If I don't get anything, still I can have 1 week backup, right? Still I can have 1 week backup, so that I'm going to go ahead and terminate the backup after that week. So I have 7 days of backup. That's fine. When I say 7 days of backup, right? This is pretty interesting actually. When I say 7 days of backup, that means, let me go ahead and open my Paint so that I can show you. So let's say, what is the date today? Today is the 23, right? For example, we take backup today 23. Okay, this is the backup for today. And tomorrow 24, we are going to take a backup. We are taking everyday backups, right? The 24 backup will have a 23 backup as well. Okay, and day after tomorrow, 25th backup will have 24, 23 backup as well. Let's say 23, they have 1 GB data. That means they have one like 100,000 customers access their system, and tomorrow they have one more 100,000. That means 100 plus 100, 200,000, which is 2 GB, for example, and 4 GB, 5 GB, 6 GB, something like that. And let's say this is my 7th day backup. So I have previous 7 days of backup in my 7th day backup servers, backup snapshots. Okay, so I don't have to worry if this is crashes. I have one day I'm going to lose 1 day data, but that's fine. I have one more backup. if something happens to this, I'm going to lose 2 days data, but that's okay, I have this backup. Like that. So they're going to keep 7 days of backup, and they're going to terminate before that backup actually, because they don't have to pay. Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's achieve automation. Like, because it's not possible every day log into your account and taking backup for every night 12 o'clock in the morning, which is not a sufficient way, and which is not worth it, right? It's worth it, but you would have to hire so many employees, and you would have to create second shift, like a 12 o'clock shift, and which makes, like, you would have to pay a lot of money to your resources and stuff like that, right? And what we can do in order to achieve that, you can create a policy to back up your systems. You can create a policy to back up your systems for every day or every time that you want. And what that policy will do, that policy will back up your systems, and you can create a retention policy as well. Let's say, for example, you can create a retention policy for 7 days. So after 7 days, the policy automatically will delete the old backups. Okay, let's go ahead and look at how does that work. So this is the lifecycle manager. That service is called lifecycle manager, data lifecycle manager. Okay, this guy, you can create a policy that, okay, I want to back up for 7 days or 6 days, and I want to clean up the servers. I want to clean up old backup so that I don't have to pay. Okay, and I can schedule time. You can go ahead and back up my systems whenever I schedule time. Okay, let's see how does that work. Let's create a lifecycle policy. Okay, what I am backing up, I'm taking backup for EBS volumes. You know why EBS volumes? Because I don't want to stop system. I don't want to stop my server. It's the same thing. Even if I take a backup of EBS volume, it's the same thing. Okay, that's fine. If you target your source EC2 instance as well, it's possible, but that's okay. I can go with the system basically. Okay, I can go with the volume basically. In order to do that, how you are going to select your choose your volumes. Let's say you have a 5,000 volumes, and 1,000 of them belongs to different project, and 1,000 of them too belongs to different project. 1,000 of them too belongs to your project. How you are going to define them? How you are going to tell your life cycle policy, okay, this is the system that I want to back up. Okay, and based on the tags, and let's see how does it work. Just, daily backup or whatever, daily backup. Okay, and source with the tags basically. You see that this policy will back up the volumes based on the tags. Let's say your project is macy's.com, and your all EBS volumes that are belongs to your project will be added a tag called macy's.com. Macy's, for example, name equal to Macy's, whatever. Okay, let's go to tag and add a tag. When this tag will be added, when they create this EBS volume. When you create an EBS volume, that EBS volume will be automatically added tag, and we'll talk about how does that work. Okay, and we'll really talk about that. Name Macy's, Macy. Okay, whatever Macy. Let's keep Macy. Okay, now I wanna create a policy, and that policy should target that policy should target the tag. Let's say whatever the EBS volumes has a name equal to Macy, you should back up those EBS volumes. Are you guys with me? Can you guys type Y in the chat? Okay, now let's go ahead and just, who is backing up the system? That's fine. By default role is fine. Okay, this is the place where you can schedule. Hey, when you want to back up, can you schedule a time? The frequency is daily. You can even weekly, you can even do monthly, you can even do yearly. Okay. But let's go ahead and just schedule name, Macy backup, whatever backup, just a name, schedule name. And when you want to backup daily, frequency is daily, and every 12 hours, every 1 hour, whatever, every 1 hour, every 2 hours, whatever. Let's put every 1 hour. Okay. Starting from 9 o'clock UTC, that is 5 o'clock ETC. And you see that retention type, I'm going to do age. Okay. What interval I'm going to put? I'm going to put 2 days, or I'm going to put 7 days. Let's say 7 days. Okay. And what I will do, copy tags from source. Okay. When I create EBS volume, when I create like a snapshot from my EBS volume, right? This policy will create a snapshot from EBS volume, right? Whatever that EBS volume has the tags, whatever tags that EBS volume has, copy those tags and add to the snapshot so that I can identify what snapshots are being created, right? What snapshots are being belongs to my project. I can identify them. Okay. I can just go ahead and add them. So I don't have to add any tag because this policy is getting tags from my EBS volume and it is going to add those tags to my snapshots, whatever the snapshots are being created. Are you guys with me? Okay, you can even enable these snapshots to a different region. So for example, if something goes wrong in Northern Virginia data center, if you copy these snapshots to a different region, for example, Oregon or Los Angeles region, and you can have a backup there and you can create them as well. You can create your system as well. Okay. And enable policy, I can go ahead and create this policy. So based on the policy, based on our policy frequency, what was the frequency? Daily, every 1 hour, right? Based on our frequency, what this lifecycle manager do? This lifecycle manager create snapshots for our EBS volumes, and every 1 hour, every day, and clean them up after 7 days. That's what we had a policy, right? Any questions till now? This
No.
this will create a next EBS volume in 1 hour because that is the frequency that we give, right? This is all about backup of your systems, AWS EC2 systems. Okay.